Alright, now
So
we're
yeah,
properly in the Deadgrove. What a lovely name for a place.
Of the Deadgrove. I'd bet my original rotator cuff that's where you'll find Commander Spock.
This readout says it can only be accessed by a subterranean railway station. Oh, sorry, rookies. Looks like the only way through is down.
In the mood for extreme destruction.
Classic, another variation for the rocket launcher. In this time case it's called the Warmonger.
Vaporize.
For added carnage, use multiple warmongers on the same target.
It's fine as a rocket launcher, but the rate of fire is way too slow if you ask me. It's best to be used against targets that are too spongy, obviously. Don't waste it on the small fries.
Careful with that warmonger, rookie. She packs a wallop.
rookie Ratchet is basically a veteran at this point.
That's how Kronk and Zephyr have been referring to Ratchet and Clank since Tools of Destruction. Remember, their entire stick is that they're war veteran robots who have been in way too many wars to count. So from their perspective, yeah, even people like Ratchet and Clank are still rookies.
Or I recall that they called them like rookie as early as Tools of Destruction, but you'd think that at least by this game they would have, referred to them by something else, given that they've saved not just a world, but
Also,
pretty
I'm
much
pretty
all of
sure they
existence.
do that just to refer to members of the team in the current session, so we don't have to refer to them by their individual name.
Probably. Again, I get it. It's a trick so that, they don't have to record as much dialogue.
Pretty much.
Whoever you...
Did I mention that the fixed camera is kind of a problem for me specifically in this game?
Yeah, I actually saw the camera shift while you were in mid-jump and was fearful you were gonna die right there and then. I guess they at least did your character the courtesy
It's more about
of
the
moving it back a
perspective.
bit.
Sometimes, I'm clear. I think that I'm actually adding to the surface, but the game thinks otherwise, unfortunately. Anyway,
Now,
go
now,
on.
to be fair, I can kind of get why they have a fixed camera since this is an up to 4-player game.
Yeah, otherwise,
Typically,
again,
you
we
get a
get into
fixed-
situations like, Super Mario 3D World where it's too much of a mess.
Like, the idea typically in this sort of game is to zoom in and out the camera based off of how close or far away from each other the characters
And if anything,
are.
it's not too different from something like, say, the classic God of War games when you get down to it. So it's just a matter that the platforming in here tries to be a bit more specific than in that game. So. Anyway, speaking of, the Deadgrove, as you can see, despite having a dark ambient, manages to be having a very interesting color palette, if you ask me, both for the environment and the enemy. It reminds me a bit of Folklore, which was a launch title for the PS3.
Has an armored shell not unlike the sewer-dwelling racer Ansaringus Minor. If attacked, explorers should search for and attack its unprotected underbelly.
I wonder what that might be referencing.
Attack its weak point for massive damage. There you go.
Massive damage.
Yeah. The meme was still big at this point.
I believe this situation calls.
I also like the fact that, as I mentioned in the previous part, Kronk and Zephyr are basically using the equivalent of Wikipedia to actually describe these, the environment and the fauna to the team. But as a result, the information that they get might not always be up to date. So, sometimes they do ask you to improvise, and I really like that.
Okay, give them credit. They are actually not useless, despite being stuck out in the middle of
No, again,
space.
they actually have a smart use of their time in order to be mission control for you, which I do appreciate that. And we'll get even a sequence later where we actually pass near them, believe it or not.
Hey, like we said, it's more than Talwin's doing in this game.
Yeah.
Which is,
kind of wish again, if you don't want to have Talwin playable, why don't you have her, with them? Oh, hello.
Tough day at the office. How are you drinking that?
Well, anyway, yeah, let's introduce the turret type of enemy. Reinforce the shield on the outside, exposed from behind. So you know what the drill is. One has to... There you go. One has to, distract it while the other circles around and kills from behind.
Theo, you destroyed the water fountain. Undyne's not going to like that.
Hashtag not my problem.
Okay. You totally dripped the water down in front of Horizon Hotland, didn't you?
Clank, buddy, there you go. Alright, the new gadget, and I argue this is one of the situational ones, the Quake Hammer. On paper it's not too bad of an idea, it's a jackhammer that you use to actually destroy rocks to gain bolts or to unlock different passages. The problem is that it's very precise. You have to jump on the specific rock, which is evidenced, and you just need to wait just enough to be a bit annoying for the whole process, to be completed. It takes a bit of time, and the rewards are not always really, useful. And after this level, the rocks that you have to break with a jackhammer are very scarce to boot. So, this is definitely one of those gadgets that are put there just for the sake of it.
I do find it weird that they didn't allow you to double use it as, like, a weapon that can, like, while being slower, pretty much clobber several enemies surrounding you.
Yeah, I get what you mean, but no, they just decide to make it situational for the sake of, the environment or anything. But most of the gadgets tends to do that. The closest that you get is that with the vacuums, you can suck up something that you can use as a projectile, similar to the suck cannon for the previous games, but otherwise it's not really a good option. But other than that, the glob, the glob weapon doesn't really work against enemies unless they are specifically airborne target that needs to be put down. You'll be able to see it,
Mm-hmm. It's like, I feel like in this kind of game, it's best to have your tools be able to double as weapons, so that they aren't too situational.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, what you gonna do?
In this case, drill, like there's no tomorrow.
Drill, baby, drill.
And like I said, you get really a measly amount of bolts from the single, rocks that you break. I really don't see much of a point for you to do it. Other than, oh, it's kinda cool, fuck around with the rest of the character. Which I get the idea is a thought process for for a co-op game like this. Again, the stuff that we've seen in Joseph Ferris, developed games. So there is that.
Ready, pal? Get ready.
His most recent one seems to have once again be another success.
Fiction.
Speaking of
Yeah.
Joseph, yeah.
There we go.
I think about covering that on the channel somehow.
Well, you will need a partner, so
yeah.
think about it.
I forget if this one gives like an online ability finally.
Remember, starting with It Takes Two. No, a way out. Even a way out had it. So it was,
really?
Yeah, it was always there. Yes, that's how Deji, if I recall correctly, have managed to beat them. It's just that obviously couch co-op is a bit more preferable because it helps you with coordination. Technically.
Coordination, communication.
Okay. This is one of those segments where as I said, the 60 FPS breaks out a bit the game, if I recall correctly. Because at one point, if I remember correctly, one enemy will spawn that, if the frame rate is kept higher, just decides not to move inside the dome, and you cannot do anything about it. But I don't remember if I showed that or just cut that out. But other than it's basically one of those points where it's recommended that you quickly turn it on and off.
Ever find it weird how we were getting all these games on the PS3, but then when we got to the PS4, suddenly they decided to slow things down? Well, especially after the 2016 game.
Well, that's also because of the whole thing about games starting to cost more and taking way more time to develop. That's what,
For a second there, I thought you were gonna...
Go
A
on.
second before you could say gaming in the Clinton years. I was like, what's Clinton
No,
have to do with
not really.
Ratchet and Clank?
Dun, dun, dun. But that's probably the reason why the Spider-Man 2 had its whole season pass DLC, plans cancelled, despite teasing stuff with Carnage, for example. Because the game had costed way too much, and despite, if I understand correctly, being successful because it's Spider-Man, so as usual, brand name sells alone. The polarizing reception was not probably enough to have it keep going, so instead we focused just on Wolverine. Not helped obviously by the data theft that exposed not just their plans, but all of information from Sony that they probably did not wanted to be public. So
From what I recall, also, it may have been a dreaded case of, despite the game selling oodles and oodles of copies, it may not have matched up against the most loftiest of expectations, or at least...
Well, remember, Joe, it costed 350 millions to make, which is insane. Like, there are Hollywood movies that cost way less to be made.
Yeah, like, that's the gaming landscape we live in. Games can cost, 300% the budgets of some movies. And, I get it, games are going to be interactive and longer than movies. But
well, you say that,
Jesus
but it's
Christ.
solely we're talking about. Interaction is something that they really have struggled with in the last couple of years.
Ever find it funny how, despite them trying to make a lot of their games interactive movies, some of their games have felt more scripted than movies?
Because that's what I want to do in a Spider-Man game. Pedal my bike alongside with Harry Osborn just to showcase the friendship that Peter and he have. The phrase this could have been an email? That could have been a cutscene. I know that I kept saying it for a couple of times, but I'm sorry, I don't want to have my time wasted. Just show me the scene, in a directorial kind of way, please.
I'm not going to act like it's exclusive to Sony, but Sony are definitely the party most guilty with trying to make games into movies.
Yeah, remember, Joe, like I said, the first of the Last of Us game, and to an extent also the Uncharted games beforehand, were the ones that shaped the landscape with this kind of shit for, the entire industry. That's because it was considered the pinnacle, of gaming and that.
Far from me to say that a game should never be like those, because they can be cool. The problem was when Sony suddenly got the idea that, no, this is the key to success. We gotta make all our major titles like this.
Like I said, the Norse Saga God of War games are still fun to play, thank God, but the slow pace that they're presented with absolutely kills replayability, unfortunately.
And that's to say nothing about how that showcased them starting to replace classic
Clank, what the fuck are you doing?
He looked like he was having fun on his little pogo stick.
He was supposed to actually get to the there you go, supposed to go like this, but for some reason was just jumping around. Weird.
Look at that, Ratchet. I'm helping.
Thank you, buddy.
But yeah, no, one of my issues with the new God of War games was, of course, when they started replacing iconic voice actors with, more Hollywood talent. Now,
to be fair, that's the thing, Drova. With the Norse Saga, God of War, that happened just exclusively with Kratos, because every single character returning from the Greek saga for one reason or another, maybe it's a ghost that talks about or a flashback or something like that, they are still voiced by their respective voice actors like Corey Burton or Crispin Freeman. So they had no problem with that. It's just that they wanted a celebrity. That's it.
Now, I will be fair. Christopher Judge is amazing as Kratos. I'll give him credit. He does impeccable performances. He earned those game awards. It still just sits wrong with me, though, the reason we got him, though.
It's worth noting that in recent time, very recent by the time recording this, him and the previous voice actor for Kratos, I think the name was another TJ, but I forgot his last name, they actually, become buddy-buddy. So there is no real animosity between them. It's a situation similar to, say, David Hayter and the guy that they got to voice, Snake in FGS5.
Kiefer
Sutherland, thank you.
Also, the original actor you're thinking of is Terrence C. Carson, I believe.
Thank you. Yeah, that's him. So, technically speaking, at least for them, there is no actual animosity, but as you said, it's the principle of the thing, you know.
Pretty much. It's like with when the MCU got us Don Cheadle as War Machine. Arguably, some people would call that an upgrade. The icky part is, of course, knowing the context behind that. Thanks a lot, Ike Perlmutter.
Yeah, the damage will still happened. But again, that's an unfortunate part for the whole industry. This kind of level of insecurity that, you know, makes you fear that, oh no, if we don't have the big name on the poster, people will not care and think it's too childish. Which is like, come the fuck on.
I think we are finally entering in the era where that mindset is coming to bite a lot of games in the ass. Not just for the fact that it now causes development times to skyrocket, but the fact that now it's starting to affect sometimes reception here and there and whatnot. Like, hey, shock of all shocks, video game movies are overall better received nowadays because they function more like the video games that they're based off on and whatnot, essentially.
Oh well.
You know, they learn eventually. Just wish it didn't take them that long each time. Okay, this looks like the perfect area for a minecart sequence.
We will get something relatively different from that. They also use this occasion to play around with the concept of the turrets by forcing you into this 2D plane, so it forces one to be the bait and the other to actually go around and kill it.
But you know, give them credit, that's good. Making enemies that do make use of the teamwork, essentially.
Like I said, the game tries its damn hardest to never feel too repetitive with its bag of tricks, and I really appreciate that for it.
Yeah, like again. Obviously, a lot of studios work like this, but Insomniac really seem to have a knack of really bringing out their best, even when it's a project that they really don't care for. I'd say for the most part, like, sadly, Quest for Booty is a thing where that really feels like they just didn't care.
Like I said, just wait until we get to the next game. I know that I've been foreshadowing for quite a while, but after finally playing it for myself, again... Full Frontal Assault Q-Force really does showcase what happens when a game is rushed out the window. And no, not in a sense that it's a buggy mess like Sonic 06, but again, you'll be able to witness.
It's not quite a dark age, but I'd say we're in what many would consider the dork age of Ratchet and Clank. Like, not outright terrible and the worst,
oh
but...
God. What the hell is that?
Someone's nightmares, I see.
I hope that's not the boss of the level.
Sure would be a shame.
What?
Wigwump. Why does that sound like a love sore name?
I'd give that wigwump a wide berth if I were you. Those things use 14 different stomachs to digest their prey.
Lovely.
Lovely. We're totally not gonna fight it. It's just a background aspect.
Yeah, no shit, Clank.
I need to pass the hot potato to Clank. If you would stay still for a fucking second, dear God.
Ratchet. Ratchet, I am aware that you have eyes, but do you understand that giant glowing red ball, with red spots on it is considered potentially dangerous?
Sorry, buddy, I'm too busy throwing myself off the cliff over and over.
Yeah, I was about to say, did the game literally plop you right on the edge?
No, it was me who actually accidentally, step too much on the, from the edge.
Okay, I was wondering if, like, by default it drops you on the edge and, like, one little move causes you to die.
No.
Ratchet, is there a problem I should be aware of regarding your psyche? You seem to be constantly throwing yourself off the cliff.
Clank, weren't you just doing not just the same thing not too long ago?
Yes, but I can save myself from those. You apparently were taking your sweet time in it.
Luck of a Lombax, call it like that, I guess.
Pretty
Well,
much.
Max just didn't have much luck, it seems.
There you go, that's for another
What a-
hero bolt.
Go ahead, Ratchet.
If I could just, there you go.
I do find it weird that they don't just let you pick it up by moving into it. That's like a staple of the series and well, just
Yeah,
common sense.
maybe it's another emulation glitch, but I never tested to confirm that, to be honest.
My guess is maybe it's a way to let people race for the item if they're like competing against each
Awesome.
other.
But you have to remember, Juvavet, that the hero bolts are colored differently specifically for the character. So if I understand correctly,
Right.
if you played with other human, players, it will have, maybe more balls on the same place.
That would be very nice and convenient.
So are we dead? Not really. First of all, the end of this small section of the stage.
That is such a fake out, though. How
It's done on purpose.
Oh,
Because, there you go. We're actually
Oh,
done
that
under
point,
here. And
basically.
if I recall correctly, you're about to get another gadget.
Hop in.
Okay, maybe it's not super immediately.
Clank, help me with this thing, huh?
To reach the camp, you'll have to travel down an access shaft. Only problem is...
Yeah, the schematics are a bit out of date, unfortunately.
Any elevators or transport tubes or anything.
well, we'll just have to improvise.
As usual. Oh, there it is. We get a jetpack,
Those crafty
which looks like
must have invented
Diddy
a
Kong's
short-range
barrel
jetpack
jetpack.
to travel up and down the
It does. Funny how we were making DK64 jokes earlier. It's all coming together now.
Clearly. The controls of a jetpack are actually not too bad. You don't really have a, fuel meter to worry about. You just need to, control your deceleration or, ascension. And you can have even a dash maneuver. The only real thing is that it's automated for specific sequences where you need to, drop down from a shaft or going up. So you cannot just activate it to save yourself from a bonus speed, for example.
I guess that figures.
Careful, rookies. Looks like the collectors left some of
Oh
the
god, it's
machinery
equipment that is on fire for some reason.
Clearly the maintenance crew has been lacking.
I guess it's a way to actually, properly visualize it better for the player. So I'll take that over it to be painted yellow, we'll say that.
It's kind of similar to what Mighty Number 9 actually did with brightening up its spikes with purple lightning energy. Hooray for consistency.
Clearly.
That game's going for like super cheap on Steam now, like
Well, yeah,
$1.99
it
for
goes. Deep Silver is still owning the IP, but they basically don't care at this point. And
What game?
Mighty Number 9.
Mighty Number
and if I recall
9.
correctly,
Oh.
next year it's like its 10th anniversary, I think.
Yes, it came
I
out in
remember, I think-
2016 after several delays.
I think I saw a disc copy at one point for really dirt cheap, like not even a few quid.
But what about
was
the
it,
3DS and PS Vita versions?
Yeah, level 5 I probably just decided to just
They can.
kick them in the arse.
That's the thing that Waves, they cannot even do that because the IP now still retains in the publisher's hand, in this case Deep Silver. That would be the German, the Nordic group, basically,
It's
So it's even
you
out
know-
of control of the concept.
if there was somebody who legit was just trying to save themselves for the 3DS or Vita versions, because remember, that was a thing for some backer or... Yeah, those were things for some backer awards. Like, if they were legit waiting to see if maybe the game would turn out good on handheld, or God forbid they held off on playing the game in general because they wanted to play it fresh on those handhelds, I do legit feel sorry for them. Like, it's a terrible game, but... You still should have gotten your rewards. Careful on the side-by-side, Clank.
Down we go.
Hey, Clank, you're blinking red. Is that a sign of you blowing up?
No, I am installing an update.
Clearly. Let's get some nanotech to fix that.
Yes!
There you go. Also, since I bothered to check, while I don't think I actually, properly showcased that, but this game does suffer a bit from Contra syndrome, where in some cases where verticality is involved, you might actually, climb up a particular space, and afterward, if you drop down, it counts as a bottomless pit. But it's not, it's thankfully not as, present to be a nuisance, thankfully. Alright, time to get even more down. Ow.
Hey, Clank, why don't we just fly forward a bit so that we don't have to maneuver through all this?
Because then there wouldn't be a level, would there?
Yeah, it's that two-dimensional conundrum.
Besides, I get to fly on a jetpack. Are you going to deny me that?
I guess.
Your
I guess
traditional
after all these
mode
years
is
of
a
you
jetpack.
being,
Oh,
yeah, I was about to
Jesus.
say.
Right down there.
We may have a bit of a situation here.
Exactly.
So let me get this straight. You just wanted the joy of flying your own jetpack instead of being the jetpack for once.
Ratchet, don't
Why,
say
yes,
it,
especially if my jetpack looks like a pair of bongos.
don't say it like that, Ratchet, because you start to sound like the protagonist of Forspoken. So let me get this straight. I'm talking to... No, I'm in a strange, new galaxy that I don't know anything about. My species is completely extinct and... Oh, by the way, I'm talking to a repair droid. That's something I do now, isn't it?
I swear, the dialogue of Forspoken makes me feel like I'm going insane half the time. Like, if
I
there
mean, that
was at
kind of
least...
dialogue can be done well.
Oh yeah, like, look, if there was a hint of irony with it, it could have worked, but no.
Well, that's kind of the entire point, Job. It's argued that it's a symptom of a bigger cause, that a lot of writing that wants to be clever and comedic is, literally poisoned by 13 layers of irony and sarcasm that just, makes it hard to digest. Because we live in a post, Joss Whedon and James Gunn era where everything has to be a quip or a sarcastic echo.
The ironic thing is that if anyone's busting that trend, it's James Gunn himself with the DCU. Like, he's got quips, but Superman the movie feels like a comic book movie that's just earnest about being a comic book movie. It doesn't have to stop and talk about how, oh, isn't it weird that we do this in our off time? Or, oh, isn't it weird that monsters attack? Like, nah, it takes things earnest. That being said, though, when I say irony, I mean in the sense that, like, this is more like a deconstruction on people who quip and talk like that, but no, they're playing that part of things completely straight and Forspoken, and ironically, it comes off as awkward and clunky, go figure.
I still want to give it a try because every time I hear people talking about the game, it's just about the plot and almost never about the actual gameplay, so I want to see what the fuss is about. But unfortunately, the game, even when it goes on sale, it tends to still be... Fuck. Well, it was worth a try. It is still relatively costly. I just want to wait when I have to pay only $10 for it. I'm sorry.
I do find it weird that it still goes for those prices. Like,
new weapon time.
Looking to deliver a high-powered
Get this.
Then try the Blitzer, a new weapon.
You get a pair of stones that gives you de-homing attack. Not even kidding.
Using more than one pair of blitzers will trigger a massive shockwave.
I'll properly demonstrate it later, But yeah, so this is a pair of gauntlet gloves that do resemble, oven mittens that you use to in midair potentially to actually launch yourself towards the enemy. Yeah, homing attack
Ratchet,
style.
I'm over here. Hello?
Sorry, buddy, nobody cares.
Ratchet, Clyde, I'm over here.
No, not now, Clank. I'm busy looking up at the menu.
Nice. Yes. Let's do this.
Then I might as well talk about the upgrades, in this case. They are actually more simple compared to, the previous games, for obvious reason. Instead of actually leveling them up, you just stick with the bolt upgrades. You need to have an upgrade about, if I recall correctly, the power, one about the ammo capacity, and then, if you purchase both of them, you get to the third rate upgrade, which gives the weapon a unique trait. For example, if it's the standard, pistol, it gives you guns akimbo stuff, for example. Or if it's, for example, the Ratchet's, decoy weapon, it allows it the ability to actually fire as a mini turret instead of being just a decoy. Stuff like that. So the component is still there, but instead it requires, a more capitalistic approach for, progress.
I am ready.
Okay, SpongeBob.
Remember, Joe, that this is Ratchet and Clank, not Spyro. We don't have Tom Candy in here.
Oh, didn't Tom Kenny show up in a Ratchet and Clank game?
Not that I know.
I'll check now.
Only 3 labs remaining, and then I will get the special surprise that Dr. Coyle is actually working
He
on.
was in the 2016 game.
Oh god,
That's the one I'm thinking of.
He played Grimroth Raz.
I'm good.
I don't remember. Maybe it's Sherman Drax's new henchman. I forgot if it's him or no, someone else.
I am ready.
He was Ratchet's adopted father figure.
Oh, the Obi-Wan equivalent.
I forgot that they were...
Well, gee, I can't imagine why would we forget about that.
Oh, actually, no, apparently... Wait, never mind. Google was lying to me. Apparently, he's actually voiced by Travis Willingham.
Maybe
who
was
did
he in the was he in the game or in the movie? Because again,
The game. In the movie, he's voiced by John Goodman.
Oh, because of course. He's
John
Job.
Goodman?
Remember, Job, star power. That's the same reason why we got people like Paul Giamatti replacing Kevin Michael Richardson for Chairman Drac because we're gonna need a name on the box. To get people in the seats.
The real annoying thing is Kevin Michael Richardson was already a big name in both video games and movies.
Well, not according to I forgot if it was even Sony Pictures
Gramercy
and Universal.
Pictures?
Yeah.
And gee, what a shock, the movie didn't do as well as they had hoped.
It also didn't help that again about the severe writing, but we'll get there. We're 2 games, almost 2-3 games for it, so you'll be able to see. Also, if I recall correctly, it's the arena that can get glitched if you keep the frame rate at 60. Gone.
I mean, they did make a animated short a few years after.
About a cake, if I recall correctly.
I'm guessing we're tackling the movie first, then the game, since the game technically takes cutscenes from the movie.
Not to mention, the game is technically counting as a sequel, sorta, to the movie, because the framing device is Captain Quark doing a recollection of the events in his own mind, which has to justify why the game is more close to the original game rather than to the events of the movie.
I also really get the feeling that someone at
There you go, see,
Insomniac
those 2
wanted...
minions were just stuck, so I just jumped cut onward. Gone.
I also get the feeling that someone at Insomniac begged and pleaded to add that in, if only so that they could go, look, this will be a saving throw in case this totally doesn't work with the fans, essentially.
Well, there's also the fact that the game, the actual tie-in game to the reimagining was rushed, and that is why also a lot of the levels that were in the original first game actually were completely cut away or merged with others. You'll be able to witness when you get there.
Which, yes, effectively makes it a downgrade in some ways. Great job.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah, no, they'll
that's
be-
the cherry on top to boot. The game in itself as a tie-in almost was not even made, because, get this, apparently Sean Layden was the one that actually proposed that, which in itself is kind of a can of worms, because, again, your thought process is not about, you know, continuing the franchise, but instead wanted to do a restart for some reason, you know. But get this, our good old pals, Jim Ryan and Andrew Holst, while they were not in the positions they eventually got, did contest that by saying, who wants to play an old game?
Jesus. That was, like, one of the most baffling things ever. Like, I'm sorry, it is no secret that backwards compatibility is still very much a selling point to consoles.
That's because,
these
again,
days.
modern, a lot of the, you know, modern CEOs are definitely afraid of people preferring to play older games than new ones. And
Well, hate to break it to you guys, but emulators make those possible all the same.
Not to mention the fact that despite that you still gain a kind of profit. Like, what? Are you afraid that your, you know, ever capricious investors might chicken out for that specific reason? But whatever, I'm digressing. Anyways, as you noticed, we're actually having to fight the wigwam, unfortunately. So, unfortunately, our excursion leads directly into the nest of a fucker. So we need to move on.
Complete with dark lighting to really add on to the nightmare fuel.
Yes!
Thankfully, in this first phase, despite having the jetpacks, it's still relatively doable. Even if, as you can see, you're not dealing that much of a damage. But it's just a preamble to the actual boss fight.
Yeah, you better run!
Nice! More ammo.
Oh.
Ratchet, how do you know you picked up ammo? I can barely see anything myself.
Well, it came from a glue-blowing box, buddy. That typically means ammo in this
That
game.
was the nanotech that the ammo was given by the green platform.
I hope it was ammo as opposed to something else that's blue.
Double D, double da.
Okay. I'm sure that Eiffel 65's country is very proud of them.
Wigwam's getting closer.
No comment.
Italy.
Yes.
No comment.
That's the joke.
You suck, McVeigh.
Yeah. You see, here's the problem with the weak bump. Unlike us, he seems to know about the third dimension, so taking advantage of that.
Smarter than we thought. And he's very fast since he can literally zoom from one side to another unless there's multiple of him.
No, it's just one, but very angry and very fast. Uh-oh.
Ready or not, here he comes.
Head into the abyss.
Boy, how about that? It's heading towards the abyss that actually saves you for once.
Oh, that just means that we have to move. Thankfully, someone has left a lot of these boxes with, nanotech for us to survive. Otherwise, it would have been very awkward.
God bless the brave souls who weave these boxes for our heroes in games. From the same crew who weaves Crash all his boxes in places that would otherwise kill a man.
Unfortunately, remember, Jova, in recent times, these people seem to have their job cut out for them a bit too easy by, the people who paint the yellow, X's all over them.
I know, they're putting a lot of people out of work, sadly.
There we go. There we are. The Wigwam's nest.
Does not look good. We must be in the Wigwam's
burrow.
Maybe we can reason with it, Bond with it or something.
Ratchet.
No,
of course.
I do not want
yes.
to bond with that creature.
Oh, come on! It would be a cool pet and everything!
Where would we even fit it?
Your house?
I don't have a house.
I mean, Quark is the president, so we probably could find, you know, a place where he can fit it. Maybe taxidermy it. I don't know.
Remember, Ratchet, ever since Secret Agent Clank got cancelled, I've had to sell my old home. My wife divorced me. I lost my kids.
And remember, Ratchet is the one, but apparently he's still getting all the royalty bolts from stuff like the Standardware. So...
Well, you gotta consider, Clank, that it was maybe a bit of a way too bold, risky move to try and make yourself the hero all on your own lonesome.
You're the hero all the time.
It really is an it really is an occasion where Clank told, unfortunately, Ratchet, I am now part of a show where, you know, you're the virgin and I'm the Chad.
Besides, it wasn't even low ratings that cancelled the show. It was still doing well. It got cancelled because someone made a bullshit copyright claim.
Yeah. You know, again, Secret Agent Clank sends me, like... I mean, there's a lot for me to critique about when we do a commentary of it, but the game itself just feels so earnest that I can't help but laugh at how they really just straight up made Secret Agent Clank canon, you know, and I mean, obviously until, like, Insomniac basically said, no, that's just like an in-universe episode of Secret Agent Clank, which makes more sense anyway.
Especially because a lot of the locations don't make sense when you think about it. The only thing that connects it to, you know, size matters is the fact that the reason Clank went on the action was when he saw a picture of Ratchet and Clank being awarded for defeating the Technomites. There we go.
Excellent work. The Wigwam has been defeated.
Well, again, the biggest problem with Clank is it begs the question, who rebuilt him?
Okay, it's something that I think I mentioned when we did a Cracking Time, but unfortunately I cannot skip it. One of the things that Nefarious did on the planet where he and Loris crashed was actually a memorial for Clank. So that already puts a bit of a weird spin to things. Anyway, more important stuff at end.
Someone want to get Fatty McGrath breather and oxygen mask? I'm not gonna carry him if he passes out.
Ratchet.
I'm surprised Nefarious isn't trying to use this opportunity to kill him.
Put a pin on that.
What you got?
It's a Holobot. A recording from someone.
Hollow Diary, entry 005. They came during the night.
That really sounds familiar.
They attacked without warning.
Yes, it
I
does.
stood atop Zuzo Fields and watched in horror as Commander Spog and his armies lay waste to Uzo City. Through ribbons of fire, I saw my creation, bloated and terrible, a deadly moon hanging silently amongst the destruction. Emphemeris. What plans does my enemy have for this ark? I can't explain it. But I feel as if some dark fate haunts us all from the
Okay,
future.
that force is just Dark Fear from Yu-Gi-Oh!
These things will not stop with madness. We are simply the first steps. And I, Dr.
Hey,
Francis
that's the guy we've been helping with the animals.
made it possible.
Yep. Look at that. The inner game mechanics rear their head to the story.
Has a plan for these monsters. Ratchet, I have a bad feeling about this. We must find Commander Spog at once.
What? You have a bad feeling about the guy who's collecting the most dangerous creatures across the galaxy? I wouldn't have imagined.
And we just move on. I guess we ignore the fact that Quark was tired. Okay.
It's just that easy. There was a platform waiting for us.
Alright, tune in for the next part where we actually reach the base where Commander Spog is. See ya.
See ya.
See ya.